The grand ballroom of Ashworth Palace glittered beneath thousands of candles. Crystal chandeliers reflected golden light across marble floors, while noble guests danced to the sound of violins. At the center of the room stood Duchess Elena Devaugh, dressed in a silver gown that sparkled like moonlight. Beside her was her husband, Duke Alistair Devaugh, the most powerful nobleman in the kingdom. Tonight marked the 5th anniversary of their marriage. Elena smiled politely at the guests, though a quiet sadness lived in her heart. Once, she had believed that Alistair loved her. 5 years earlier, she had married him with dreams of happiness, but those dreams had slowly faded into silence. Suddenly, the grand doors opened. Lady Beatrice Ashford entered the ballroom wearing a crimson dress. Murmurs spread among the guests. Everyone knew that before marrying Elena, Alistair had once loved Beatrice. Beatrice walked confidently toward the Duke. Alistair's expression softened the moment he saw her. Then he leaned toward Elena and whispered, "Step down for her." For a moment, Elena thought she had heard him wrong. "What?" she asked quietly. "Beatrice deserves the place beside me tonight." Those words pierced Elena's heart like a blade. The music continued, but to Elena, everything had gone silent. Without a single protest, she stepped down from the platform. Holding her head high, she crossed the ballroom while hundreds of nobles stared in shock. The doors closed behind her. Outside, cold rain had begun to fall. For the first time in years, Elena allowed herself to cry. Back inside the ballroom, whispers spread through the crowd. Did the Duke really send away his wife? How cruel. Even Beatrice looked uncomfortable. But Alistair ignored them. He convinced himself that Elena would return by morning, just as she always had. He was wrong. The next day, Elena packed her belongings and left Ashworth Palace. She traveled to the countryside, to the small village where she had grown up. The villagers welcomed her warmly. For the first time in years, Elena felt free. She opened a school for children, helped farmers with their harvests, and spent her days surrounded by people who truly appreciated her kindness. Weeks turned into months. Back at Ashworth Palace, Alistair began to notice Elena's absence everywhere. The dining hall felt empty. The library was silent. No fresh flowers decorated his study. No one reminded him to rest after long meetings. For the first time, he realized how much Elena had done for him. One evening, his old servant approached him. "Your Grace, the Duchess loved you deeply." Alistair looked up. "Then why did she leave?" The old man sighed. "Because love cannot survive without respect." Those words haunted him. That night, Alistair entered Elena's room for the first time since her departure. On the desk lay dozens of unfinished letters. One read, "I know your heart belongs elsewhere, but I still hope that one day you will see me." Another said, "If my presence brings you pain, perhaps my absence will bring you peace." Alistair's hands trembled. For years, he had believed Elena would always remain by his side. Now he understood how terribly wrong he had been. Days later, Alistair rode alone to the countryside. He found Elena in the village school, reading stories to children. She looked happier than he had ever seen her. When the lesson ended, Elena stepped outside and froze. "Why are you here?" she asked. Alistair struggled to find the words. "I came to bring you home." Elena shook her head. "Ashworth Palace was never my home." For the first time, the proud Duke had no answer. "I made a mistake," he whispered. Elena looked at him calmly. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. Humiliating your wife before an entire kingdom is a choice." Her words struck him harder than any sword. "I'm sorry," Alistair said. Elena smiled sadly. "Sorry cannot erase 5 years. Rain began to fall between them. Alistair stepped forward. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want to change. Elena remained silent. After a long moment, she said, then change, not for me, but for yourself. With that, she turned and walked back into the school. Alistair stood alone in the rain, watching the woman he had once taken for granted disappear behind the wooden door.